Hey y'all, hope everybody's doing well. Jay here. A couple weeks ago, I had done a lesson on note meditation, talking about Dorian mode and the ways that I like to recommend people learn new modes and new scales. So today I'm going to kind of continue on that trajectory, and we're going to talk about Phrygian mode, which is the next mode of the major scale. There's been a lot of talk going on online, people talking about what modes are and how to learn them and all this kind of jargon. And I think as guitar players, we tend to get trapped into kind of boxes and shapes and patterns and all this kind of stuff. And although those are obviously very important for learning our instrument, at the end of the day, we're all really trying to make music. And I think it's important that when you're learning any kind of new scale or any kind of chord, that you really sit with it a while and understand how it feels to you and the sounds that it creates, so that then when you go to improvise with it or you go to write music with it, you're a little bit better informed as to what you're working with. I like to think of modes and extended chords and different colors as kind of like spices or colors. So if you're cooking and if you had no idea what cumin smelled like or tasted like, and you were going to go cook with it, and somebody told you, oh yeah, go ahead and use cumin on that, and then you just started putting cumin on there, even though somebody told you that was the right thing to do or whatever, you don't really know what you're doing. You're just kind of following directions. So I see that happen a lot with guitar players when it comes to learning modes and learning more higher extensions on their chords and things like this. So I have a technique that I refer to as note meditation, and that's what we did in the Dorian video, and we're going to do it today on the Phrygian video. And I highly recommend this. Basically what it is where you set up, in our case it's going to be a loop that defines the sound of Phrygian mode, and then we're going to sit with each note up against that loop so that we can really kind of hear what the color is, and we can sort of understand how it makes us feel, so that then when you go to write music with this, or if you go to improvise with this, then you know kind of what you're doing, and you can really say, oh, this is the feeling I'm looking for. Then you remember, oh, that was this mode or that was this color. So that's really our goal here. So, all right, let's get into it. Phrygian mode, it's the third mode of the major scale. If you don't know what I mean when I say that, you can definitely reach out to me and I can help walk you through it. But basically, its parent mode is the major scale. Phrygian mode is a minor sounding scale, however, very minor sounding. When I say that, it has three notes in common with the natural minor scale. That's the flat third, the flat sixth, and the flat seventh, which are all defining notes in a natural minor scale. They all also exist within the Phrygian mode. Now, the thing that makes Phrygian different from natural minor is that it also has a flat 2 in it. Flat 2. And what do I mean when I say all these numbers with these accidentals attached to them? Well, in music theory, for the sake of communication, and don't let music theory scare you, it's basically just terms that we use to communicate music, right? So often, for the sake of ease of communication, when somebody's talking about a chord or a scale, each degree of the scale gets attached a number. And then from that number, if it's just natural, if it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all of those are referring to what they would be if we were in a major scale. Now, anytime you hear somebody say something like, it's a G it's a G chord, but it has a flat 9 in it or something like that. Basically, how you find that is you just count up from G. If you were in the major scale, you would count up to G all the way up to 8, which is your root, and then you go up to 9, and then you lower that by a half step. That's just an example. And if you have more questions about that, reach out to me, but just so we're kind of on the same page. So, back to Phrygian. We have our root, then we have our flat 2, then we have our flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, the root again. And today we're in G, so this is pattern 4, G Phrygian, okay? So that one more time, I'll go through it slow with you so you can kind of hear it. And this time we're going to go up through the second octave, okay? Just playing it real slow so you can kind of get it under your fingers. Okay, so one more time, I'm just going to give you the finger numbers on that as we go up the strings. So starting on string 6, fret 3, it's fingers 1, 2, 4. Going up to string 5, fingers 1, 3, 4. Going up to string 4, fingers 1, 3, 4. Going up to string 3, fingers 1, 3. Going up to string 2, fingers 1, 2, 4. String 1, 1, 2, 4. Okay? Oh, I did it wrong. Right? So that's kind of what the mode sounds like. Where do you hear this mode? You hear it often in jazz music, and there's even some pop music that uses it. But one of the things that I think is really important, what I consider to be the most important chord, or the most important sound of Phrygian mode, is the flat 2. Classical folks will refer to that as a Neapolitan chord. So anytime you hear somebody say that, they're talking about a flat 2 major chord. But for our purposes, we're playing G minor, then we're going up to A flat major 7. Because that chord right there not only contains the flat 2, but it also contains the flat 6. So that really kind of highlights those sounds of Phrygian mode. Okay. Now, one other chord that I think is important to talk about that really defines the sound of Phrygian is that when you're in Phrygian, the 5 chord is actually a diminished chord. I mean, half diminished because I'm playing the 7 here. So, because you got that flat 6 in there, which is the flat 2 of the key. Right. So, we have our loop set up here. For our Phrygian mode, in our loop, I'm playing G minor up to A flat major 7. And I think I do that 3-4 times. And then we go up to our D minor 7 flat 5 chord there, okay? So those are all chords that really define the sound. And what we're going to do here is we're going to turn on the loop and we're going to sit with each note of the scale up against those chords and just kind of think about how it sounds to us and how it makes us feel, so that then when we go out to improvise with it or we want to write something in the Phrygian mode, we already know how it feels and what we're working with. So I'm going to bring the loop in here, and I'm going to start on the second octave here. So there's that 5, right? So here's the root. Pretty vanilla, doesn't sound any different. Now I'm going to go up to that flat 2. So that may sound different to you than it does to me. But to me, it's definitely dissonant on the 1 chord. Super dissonant. But then it resolves on that 2 chord, and that's real nice. Now I'm going to go up to the 3. Very warm, comforting, dark sound. Now I'm going to go up to the 4. Just sit with that for a little bit. Obviously, it's a bit dissonant on the 1 chord. It's not really stable, even though it resolves into both the flat 2 and the 5 chord there. Now we're going to go up to the 5. That's a much more stable note, but it is still inquisitive, right? Now this is just how I feel on these notes. You might feel something different. Now we got our flat 6. A little bit brighter, a little bit more dissonant. Definitely has some question in it. We're going to go up to our 7th. Brighter, a little more A little more consonant sounding, but still kind of pushes us to reach a little farther. Now we're back up to our root. So now we can kind of spend a little bit of time talking about how these make us feel. And I encourage you all to do this with your new scales and your new chords, to really kind of just sit with them until you understand how it feels to you before you go out writing music with it. I hope that this video was helpful, and I did do the Dorian lesson in the same fashion, talking about note meditation a couple weeks ago. You can find that on my YouTube channel at Thomas and Music, or you can find it at the Thomas and Music Facebook page or Instagram. If you have questions for me, you can reach out directly at thomasandmusic.contact@gmail.com. And I'm always open to talk about theory or guitars, and we can set you up with some lessons if you want to do that. Hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you all for watching.